Fly By Night was a little different from the first record, so the record company wasn't sure if we were developing in the correct way. They wanted us to be more like Bad Company and not so much like this weird thing that we were becoming. By-Tor and the Snow Dog, what the hell was that all about?
With By-Tor and the Snow Dog, that was the start of writing in more of a thematic, multi-piece idea. And then with Caress of Steel, we did the whole side, the Fountain of Lamneth, and The Necromancer was kind of like that. It was the start of those longer pieces.
Neil had come up with this concept, and we had to put it all together and make it work. And it seemed like just an evolution of where they were going. I thought it had amazing potential. It's a dark record, but it was certainly a good record, I thought. But that view wasn't shared by everybody.
I know we played Caress of Steel once for Paul Stanley. We just got it. We played it in our van for him one night, and you could see that he didn't get it. A lot of people didn't get it, and we wondered if we even got it.
I think we were pretty high when we made a lot of that record, and it sounds like it to me.
My eyes have just been opened, and they're open very wide. Images around me, don't identify inside. Just one blur I recognize, the one that Susan beats. My way of life is easy, and it's simple all I need.
Caress of Steel was not well received by the record company. It was not well received by our agents.
Everything took an awful downturn, and it was off the crest of a wave too, because we were so in love with what we'd done, you know? We were so into it and so proud of it. When Caress of Steel pretty much met a deaf ear, the ensuing tour, we were opening acts on smaller tours and playing backwater clubs, and we called it at the time the Down the Tubes tour.
You would find yourself in places like Battle Creek, Michigan, playing to 20 people, wondering why you were still continuing. Everybody thought that it was over, that audiences were becoming smaller and smaller, so we thought the end was near.
At that time, Ted Nugent was also not breaking. So the two of us played a lot of small clubs together. It was a pretty depressing tour. We were kind of lost, figured that we would probably not survive to see another tour. And the record company was really not happy with us, and our management was trying to defend us.
I remember going to Chicago and meeting with Mercury Records to not give up on the band, to not drop the band. I nodded to every request they had. They wanted singles, more commercial. Yeah, sure. I'm sure that's what they're gonna do.
That was a terrible winter. I had no money. I was sleeping on a friend's couch. Things couldn't have been bleaker, really. The record company, everybody was, oh, we're gonna have to be more commercial here and think about some singles, and just leaning on us at our weakest.
We talked about how we would rather go down fighting than try to make the kind of record they wanted us to make. We made 2112 figuring everyone would hate it, but we were gonna go out in a blaze of glory.
We all decided that we would rather go back to our jobs, working on a farm or working as a plumber's mate for my dad or whatever, than give in and just be something that everybody else wants us to be.
We did summon that strength of character to say, no, we won't do that. We're doing it our way, and if this is the last hurrah, fine. You know, back to the farm equipment dealership for me. It was a big no. No, we're not doing any of that. No, you can't tell us what to do, and no, we don't care.
When the record company heard a full side concept, like the first side of 2112, people panicked. They thought, wow, we're screwed.
They didn't get it. This was like, I ordered salmon and they brought me a steak. What the hell is this?
The nature of the story itself that evolved in 2112, of course, was the individual against the mass. And that album did communicate and reach people on a level that just blossomed outward by the classic form of word of mouth. Obviously, the opening 20-minute piece did not get played on the radio.
I can't wait to share this new wonder. Oh, the people will all see its light. Let them all make their own music. The breeze space my name on this night.
Suddenly it was like, you gotta check this band out. And, you know, the first thing that struck you was the level of musicianship was just insane.
I remember vividly, I was in my bedroom with my neighbor and he brought over 2112. It was just something I'd never heard before. Just the fact that it was a three-piece ripping and they were pulling off this stuff that sounded like a huge prog rock production.
It took me on a journey instantly, and I looked at the album cover and saw that there were only 3 of them, and they were wearing some funky clothes. But I thought, how can 3 guys make such a sound?
I remember the keyboard sound, and all of a sudden it kicked in, and it was just like a whole new experience to music, something I'd never heard before. The drumming was incredible, the bass playing was incredible. That was it. That's what did it for me, man. I was hooked on Rush ever since then.
There was a moment in my life, and I willingly admit this, that I actually knew how to play the entire side. I knew how to play 2112 all the way down. I knew every note, every moment. And I think back now, I think, how long did I have to fucking learn that? You know, I must have sat in the bedroom for a year to learn that fucking song.
I was into the story. You know, I read the back and it was dedicated to The Fountainhead, the book. And I went right out and bought The Fountainhead and read it. I mean, not too many bands make a 12-year-old go out and buy The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand. God damn, this rock band's got me all fired up about literature.
As it turned out, the concept record went through the roof. And they were right.
2112 really bought us our independence. The record company has never been in on a single session that we've ever done. In fact, when we're done, it's all packaged and they accept it the way it is. They have no choice.
That somehow was the plateau of Untouchable. Nobody thought they had the right anymore. So yeah, 2112 was absolutely the passepartout, you know, the skeleton key that opened that door that we could close behind us. Okay, from now on, we do what we want.
Attention all planets of the Solar Federation. Attention all planets of the Solar Federation. Attention all planets of the Solar Federation. We have assumed control. We have assumed control. We have assumed control.